All right, you guys. Well, like I said, I want to give a couple of minutes to make sure that everyone's in, but we can just start with the introduction. So today we are going to talk about how to navigate holidays and vacations without fucking shit up. Because I know that we have all gone on vacation and either felt like I can't eat what I want or I have to work out. Otherwise, I'm going to gain a bunch of weight and then I'm going to go home and I'm going to do a juice cleanse and I'm going to do a fuck ton of cardio and the vicious cycle just continues. So today's conversation is going to be walking through how you can have both because you really can have both. You really can go on vacation, fully enjoy yourself, not work out, not track your macros, drink if you like to have cocktails like I do, and come back and just continue with your life without having to put out the fire of the mess that you made during vacation. So I hope that that sounds good to everybody because that's everything that we're going to talk about today. So let's see. I am going to share my screen. And we will have a question point in this call. So if you have questions throughout the call, please just drop something in the chat. You can either just like raise your hand in the chat or type out your question. I would like for everyone to contribute to this conversation though. So if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question, and that way we can have a conversation, kind of talk through it together, that would be my preference. All right, so let's see here. We've got a chat. Okay. All right. So as I just mentioned, we're going to talk about how to navigate the holidays and vacations because we do have some holidays coming up. So first, here's the table of contents. We are going to discuss, like I said, how you can enjoy your time without feeling restricted, without coming back 10 pounds heavier, without feeling like you have to go on a juice cleanse. After we discuss all of that, we're going to have an open table Q&A, and then we're going to have a really big announcement. So you're going to want to make sure that you stay all the way until the end of this call because it's going to be very well worth it. Okay. So step one is we have to prepare. All right. We can't just have a vacation with no game plan and expect to not fuck shit up. All right. So the way that we like to prepare is once you know that you're going to have a vacation, that's when you start planning for it. So this doesn't mean that you have to start like buying food for your vacation 6 weeks in advance. It more so means what can you do that is within your control leading up to that vacation to set you up for ultimate success and for ultimate flexibility. This usually means not skipping your workouts, right? This usually means not having a lot of cheat days throughout the week. The more on point you can be leading up to your vacation, the better you're going to feel, the more excited you're going to feel about taking photos, and the more flexibility you will have to fully enjoy yourself, right? If we are 100%, 80% of the time, then we have 20% of the time that we don't have to worry about being 100%. I hope that's making sense. Basically, we are on point when we have the ability to be, so we can be flexible when we don't have the ability to be exact and structured and 100%. So once we kind of get that dialed in, all right, this doesn't mean you have to work out 6 days a week leading up to your vacation either. It just means maybe we don't have so much flexibility, so we can afford that additional flexibility during the vacation. Also, we have to take into account the kind of trip or the kind of holiday or vacation we're going on, right? So for example, summer holidays and vacations are going to look a little different than winter holidays and vacations. Airbnb vacations are going to look different than hotel vacations. I like to always pack high protein snacks because that's the hardest one to find when we're traveling. So if you can pack things like turkey jerky, sugar-free jerky, tuna packets, pre-scooped portions of protein powder, then you can go to Starbucks and get the cake pop, right? Add some protein powder to your coffee. That way you're hitting that protein goal and you're having some fun food at the same time. Is that kind of making sense for you guys? In addition to packing healthy snacks, we also really want to make sure that we're staying hydrated because yes, you can have cocktails, but we're also at the age where we don't want a fucking hangover, especially when we're on vacation. So I see Kate, she's got her water. We always got our water. Hydration is key. Now, when you're flying, hydration is even more important because anytime you get on a plane, you are reaching elevation, your body is going to be holding on to water. You don't want to show up in Mexico, if that's where you're going on your vacation, feeling and looking bloated. You're just going to feel terrible. Okay. So staying hydrated pre, during, and post vacation is really, really important to be able to manage that bloat and water retention. And also the potential spike on the scale when you get back from vacation. Staying hydrated during your vacation is going to limit that probability of you coming back and stepping on the scale and saying, oh my God, I gained 5 pounds, because that's not fat, it's water if you don't maintain proper hydration levels. Planning activities. So this is really important too. I know a lot of times we go on vacation because we need to relax and recharge. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be moving our body. You don't have to work out when you're on vacation, but maybe plan some fun hikes or go for a little museum tour, walk as much as you can. Planning your activities in accordance to things that are going to be fun, but also feel good for you are going to help you stay on track while also enjoying your time. Tracking your progress ahead of time. It doesn't matter what holiday this is, tracking your progress before the festivities is the most important thing. We're not having Thanksgiving dinner and then weighing ourselves the following day and taking our photos. That's just a mind fuck. It's uncalled for. We don't need that negativity in our lives. Okay. It's also fake news. Anytime post holiday or post vacation, if we haven't given ourselves at least a couple days to get back into standard routine and increase those hydration levels, we're going to be disappointed with what we see. Okay. So track your progress ahead of time. Post vacation, give yourself an opportunity to get back into your routine, get those hydration levels back up to where that they usually need to be. And then you can assess your progress and see, okay, what happened? Before we move on to the next one, what questions do you guys all have based on everything that I just described? Like specific instances that you've struggled on vacation that you want to talk through? I think I see Cassie might be typing.
I have a question for you. When it comes to eating out and all that, are you, and this may be a point ahead, I may be jumping ahead, are you checking out all the restaurants you're going to before to plan your meals and get an idea to be able to track ahead of time? Or how are you handling that for the people who are go, go, go?
I really like that question. So yes, I do recommend checking out the restaurants ahead of time, but not necessarily for the reason that you might think. I just like to make sure that I'm planning out my restaurants because I'm a foodie. We want to go on vacation and eat good food. But if you are really, really concerned that you don't want to mess up your progress, or maybe you're going on a long vacation, like a 2-week vacation, we definitely don't want to just be, willy-nilly on a full 2 weeks. Then, yeah, I would check out the restaurants ahead of time. The best restaurants that I would say will be easier for you to stay on track are going to be a steakhouse, sushi, or Mexican food. And the reason is because usually with those restaurants, you can eat gluten-free without having to ask for gluten-free specific foods. That's going to manage healthy digestion, keep the bloat down, just make you feel good for the rest of your vacation. You can also order in a way that's easy to track if you did want to track during your vacation. For example, 3 corn tortillas. Corn tortillas are pretty similar across the board in terms of calories. You can get shrimp fajitas, literally just count the number of shrimp that you ate. Okay, 5 shrimp, 3 corn tortillas. That's how I'm going to track it. But as far as my personal preference, I like to just be on track leading up to the vacation and not fucking worry about tracking the food during vacation. If you're looking at food ahead of time, just do it because you want to know what fun stuff is out there and enjoy yourself. Did that answer the question? I feel like I got really off track there.
No, that was really great. I know for me, I have to look ahead of time because I have so many food allergies too. So like we
Mhm.
went out to dinner last night for my brother-in-law's birthday, and I had to find something way ahead of time because everything had onion, and I still ended up getting something with onion. So yeah, that's why I personally look ahead, but I was just curious about that, and that was a great answer.
Mm, yeah, that's really tough when you have such a specific allergy. I think you were just in a tough spot all the way around with that allergy and the restaurant. I think if it were up to you, you probably wouldn't have chosen that restaurant.
It was
Uh,
really great, besides not being very sick today.
right? I saw that Megan, go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Hey, okay, so you may have just answered this and by just saying that like, well, you just do really well ahead of time, so it's not as big of a thing. One of the things that I always run into on vacation is that like you can plan super well, like this is what, these are some general things that I'm going to look for, make sure I get enough protein. I can ask people to, there's always a gas station, there's always a protein bar, etc. Um, but I feel like vacations don't always go according to plan. And so then you've like got everything planned and it's like we have dinner reservations, but not for another 2 hours. I'm starving right now and there are no other options. And now like I'm not gonna make it for another 2 hours, or I don't know. Yeah, just plans change, or suddenly like everybody wants pizza. I didn't plan for pizza. And I don't have the car to do that, etc. Like I guess what is your advice for situations like that?
I really don't like tracking on vacation or holidays. I just really don't. I personally don't fucking do it because it's stressful. It impacts your ability to really enjoy your time. So I would say, one, it has a lot to do with how you're starting your day, right? So if I know that we're going out to dinner at a restaurant that I just want to fucking splurge and eat my face off, then I'm going to practice intermittent fasting that day, have as much water as I can, try to stave my appetite with sparkling beverages, 0 calorie sparkling waters, a protein shake, things that are going to get me to that meal without impacting the amount of calories that I'm able to have. And that way, once I make it to that meal, I have plenty of flexibility and it doesn't really matter whether I track or not, because there's no way I'm going to be able to eat 3,500 calories in one meal. So that would be my first step, is determine how you need to start your day in a way that's going to allow you to end it and enjoy yourself at the same time. Now, if it's like a surprise, which is kind of what you alluded to, that, everyone wants pizza all of a sudden, but it's 2 hours from now, I'm hungry now, I didn't account for that, all of that shit, then that's a moment to have grace with yourself. It's also an opportunity for you to really sit and think, are you actually hungry right now? Or maybe are you thirsty? A lot of times we forget to drink enough water during holidays and vacations and stuff. And so when we're feeling those hunger levels rise, it's usually something else. Boredom, lack of hydration, maybe some cocktails are leading you to feel like you're hungry or you're having some cravings, things along those lines. But if you truly are hungry, then have a snack. You know, I think that it's always really helpful, especially if you have any sort of history with binge eating, to eat something before you end up at dinner or the restaurant or the barbecue, right? Have something in your stomach. So that way you're not just going balls to the wall and eating everything. You can be more mindful with your choices and eat it because you enjoy it, eat it because you're hungry, not just because you starved all day and you're ravenous and now you're there with all of this food. So I know that I kind of put out two separate pictures there, and it's really just because this is all relative to the situation, your goal, and your history with food. Most importantly, your history with food. I can do the intermittent fasting and kind of, sacrifice calories all the way up until dinner because thankfully I've worked through the binge eating. But if it's still something that was to resurface, then that wouldn't be my protocol. I would have small, high protein, low carb, low fat meals leading up to that dinner. So then I would afford that flexibility. Does that answer your question, Megan?
Yeah, it really does. Thank you.
I'm going to go through the comments real quick. So making sure that I am not glazing over anything. I don't think there's any questions there. So the next thing is, what do I eat? I know that we kind of already touched on a lot of this, but in all honesty, it depends. It depends on your goal. The times that I've gone on vacation that I am really, really specific with my goal, and I have to make sure that I come back from that vacation either lighter or the same weight. I navigate it much, much differently than if I go on vacation that I'm just like, I'm just trying to train for lifestyle right now. So first, we got to define the goal of your vacation, right? If it's your honeymoon and you're going to Italy, like eat what you want. You're never going to have that honeymoon again, right? But if it's just a random 4th of July, like you're going to have 4th of July next year. Maybe you don't need to have 3 hot dogs this year. Maybe we just have one, you know? So as always, it's going to depend on your goal. Like I said, your history, your relationship with food. But at the end of the day, this is the reason that we're tracking macros. Okay. You don't have to eat specifically. You don't have to eat in accordance to your meal plans or bring your food to the barbecue or Thanksgiving dinner because we're tracking macros to gain that food freedom. You are allowed to eat whatever the fuck you want. And in the moments that we're not tracking it, you're allowed to do that too, because you track every other instance. Okay. It's when we're not really good at tracking outside of the holidays that we fuck shit up when the holiday comes. Right. So another instance that we just have to be really honest with ourselves. Are we 100% most of the time? If not, then how can we kick up that level of adherence so we can just fully let go and enjoy our time during these moments? Plenty of days to have more summer barbecues this year too. Yeah, that's another really good point. So I know for me personally, I come from a scarcity household, and that's where my binge eating habit stemmed from. If we had cookies in the house, we didn't know when we we're going to get cookies again. So we ate all those cookies like that day, and that kind of spilled over into Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then it changes the holiday from enjoying being with your loved ones to I'm going to eat this food because I don't know when I'm going to get this kind of food again. So that's a really important thing to keep in mind as well, that we have these holidays every year. You can have just one piece of pumpkin pie. You're going to be fine. If you want a second piece and you truly want a second piece because you're hungry and you enjoyed the fuck out of that piece of pumpkin pie, then that's okay too. Okay. As long as you are really having grace with yourself and accepting your decisions, because our bodies listen to what we tell it. If we eat that second piece of pumpkin pie and we're like, this is totally going to make me fat, I'm probably going to gain weight because of this, then your body's going to hold on to it a lot differently than it would if you just said, this is the best pumpkin pie and I'm totally owning the fact that I'm having a second piece. It'll release it. It really, really will. It's a great experiment to have with yourself. All right. Do you need to work out? Fuck no, you don't. But it also depends. Everything depends. What is the event? That's a really important thing to take into consideration. Are you going on a road trip? Probably not going to be able to work out. Are you staying in an Airbnb? Maybe you could do a full body workout. Maybe you can swim laps in the pool. But do you want to? If not, then front load your workouts prior to the trip, get right back on track when you get home. Now, if you're going somewhere for a work conference, for example, and you're staying at a hotel that has a gym, that might be an opportunity for you to stay on track a little closer during your trip because it's a work trip. Save that flexibility when you're going on a bachelorette party to Vegas, right? Also, what is your goal? What is your schedule looking like leading up to the event and coming back from it? If you're leaving for your vacation on Friday morning, you've got plenty of bandwidth leading up to that vacation to knock out all of your workouts. And then you don't even have to worry about it. So when we are planning a holiday or a vacation instance, I like to zoom out and see, okay, how many workouts can I get in the week of? How many will I be able to get in when I come back? Because it's more so about the average of workouts you do for the whole month, not necessarily week by week. Maybe you only get 3 workouts in the week that you leave for vacation and 4 workouts in when you get back, but total for the month, did you reach your goal? Then that's great. That's a win. And going back to goals, it all depends on what your goal is. Maybe you're in a maintenance season, which a lot of us will be come the holidays. Then I wouldn't fucking worry about doing your workouts. We also have a tendency to move more during vacation. So you can easily just increase your number of steps because you're probably going to naturally do that. And don't worry about getting your workouts in. The most common denominator during this conversation so far is how can we enjoy ourselves by doing what is within our control outside of these instances. Okay. I think a lot of times we have a tendency to overthink things. All right. So Nina says, do you at least take your supplements? Yes. Oh, good question. I didn't put that on my little presentation. So yes and no. Funny story about supplements. You don't want it to look like cocaine, otherwise they will stop you. So yes, we want to pre-portion your supplements and bring, your powdered supplements like your glutamine and stuff like that. But you want to really make sure that you're not trying to go through security with little bags of white powder. Okay. So I would definitely recommend that you put it in your check bag. If you do have to go through security with things like that, keep it in the supplement container. They're always going to check it anyhow because it's a dense powder, but at least it's just easier to answer any questions. They'll typically just look at it and know it's a supplement. They'll do a little test. With the apple cider vinegar shots, that's something, don't travel with that. If it breaks in your bag, you're going to hate me. So don't worry about it. But at the very least, bring your powder and pill form supplements because that's what's going to help you stay regular in terms of digestion, sleep quality, and just keep you on track with your routines. The more of your standard habits and routines that you can keep in place during your vacation, the easier it's going to be once you return from vacation to get back on track with all that. All right. Yeah. I was going to say about the cocaine. Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. But what was I going to say also? Oh, pre-packaging your protein powder is really helpful too. You don't want to pack a bunch of tubs of supplements. So the more that you can just use a little Ziploc baggie for, or I get those little like plastic Jello shot kind of containers on Amazon. That's really helpful to reduce the load that you're packing. But yeah, that was a good question. So any other questions so far about like workouts, how to plan and prepare for the holiday or vacation, what to eat, anything along those lines that you guys haven't asked yet? Okay. So what do we do after? Do we fix the fuck up and go on a juice diet and take a bunch of laxatives and do a ton of cardio? Or do we just get right back on track? I hope you guys know that this is the right answer. Because the truth is, you're probably going to see a fluctuation initially on the scale. Even if you do a really, really great job during your vacation, you're most likely going to see a fluctuation on the scale post holiday, post vacation, because it's water. Anytime that you deviate from what your body is used to, your body's going to hold on to water. Anytime that you have alcohol or increase your carb intake, your body's going to hold on to water. It's not forever. It's nothing to freak out about. But the more you get used to the scale fluctuating because of water, the easier it's going to be on you mentally. Okay. So that's why I said in the very beginning, we always want to track our progress prior to the festivities, and then give yourself a couple days after you return from vacation, especially if you've flown. If you wear rings and you can't get your ring off after a flight, it's not time to weigh yourself yet. That's the best way to gauge if you are still inflamed. If your rings are finally starting to fit more comfortably, then you're probably in a safe space to step on that scale and see what things are looking like. All righty. Now let's open it up for questions. What do you guys got? I've got plenty of time. I can also just start calling on people. No, you guys asked really good questions throughout. I see that Heather's on here and Melissa, Stephanie. You guys have any questions that you want to type into the chat? Oh, Sandy just joined in. Hey. All right. Well, I wish I could think of some common questions, but I feel like we've covered them all. All right, so we've got Melissa says, I'm not a big drinker, but don't mind occasional drinks for barbecues, vacations, any type of drink that's a bit better for macros. That's a really good question. I'm glad that you asked that. So, silver tequila is the best. It's made out of agave, it's gluten-free, you know, and also it's just low calorie and easy for your body to metabolize. That with some kind of sparkling water and a squeeze of lime, maybe some bitters in there of your choice, I would say is probably the best cocktail. Vodka is really good. Yeah, vodka and any kind of diet soda is really good. Personally, I like to drink alcohol for the flavor of it. And honestly, those kinds of cocktails taste like shit to me. So I would rather have a little higher calories if it means that I'm going to be enjoying it. So I like wine, a glass of red wine, a glass of champagne. They all average somewhere around 100 to 120 calories per glass. Let's see. Okay, Megan raised her hand. Megan, you want to go ahead and unmute?
Yeah, on that topic, I feel like I know the answer to this, but I can't think of it right now. So, I guess why are clear alcohols quote unquote better than darker ones? Is it the sugar content? And then specifically I'm asking because my go-to is like a Jack and a Diet Coke. And I mean I probably won't change that, but I just want to know why.
I mean, it's what you enjoy. So that's what you should drink. But yeah, it is because of the sugar content. They're typically higher in calories. That's why you'll probably have a guaranteed hangover if you have one too many. Same thing with the wine. You know, if I have fucking 4 glasses of wine these days, I am sure to be hungover the next day, but it's what I like. What I will say is extremely helpful though, is diluting your cocktails. So now when I have a glass of red wine, I'll dilute it with some flavored sparkling water. So it's more kind of like a sangria. And that helps prevent the hangover. It helps me maintain lower calories while having a drink that I enjoy. So diluting your cocktails of any kind is going to be really, really helpful too. But yeah, to answer your question, it is because of the sugar and therefore calorie content. But if you like it, then have it. maybe just put a little bit more Diet Coke than you normally would so you can alleviate the probability of a hangover. And of course, drink lots of water. And then let's see who else. The bloat actually gets swollen from the time you wake up until the afternoon. Is there something I can do to prevent this, whether on vacation or at home? I literally have my watch set to the largest setting. Okay. So one thing that's really, really helpful in managing bloat, especially if you are going on a flight, because that's usually the hardest to manage and prevent because it's just due to elevation. Dandelion root tea, which also you can get in a capsule. You can get dandelion root in a capsule. This is a natural diuretic. And that way, all of the water that you're front loading with, you're able to flush as opposed to hold on to, which is what the flight elevation will do. It'll cause you to hold on to all of that water. If you take the dandelion root tea or take the capsule, then it's going to help you flush all of that out and minimize that inflammation. Another thing specifically for a flight is compression socks or compression leggings, because this is going to help with the blood flow. And if you have optimal blood flow, then that's going to minimize the swelling, especially in, like you said, your fingers and your wrists. And let's see, before the flight, I would say if it's a big problem for you, like it's really uncomfortable, the level of inflammation that you have, I would do it before, during, and post flight. So start 24 hours before your flight. And you can do, if you're doing the tea, I would say you can reuse the tea bag like up to 3 times. So use one tea bag up to 3 times. If you're doing the capsules, I would do a capsule with each meal. And you would do that the day before the flight, during the flight, and then for a day after the flight. And that should help flush all of that water retention out. And that way, once you get to where you're going, you don't feel like shit. That's the main thing, right? We just want to be able to enjoy our vacations and not feel like we're recovering for the first half of it. All right, let's see what else. What's mom water? Melissa said, I tried mom water this past weekend. It's only available in the US and it was good, not bloating and only 90 calories. Okay, Melissa, what's mom water?
I'm unmuting. Don't mind if they're screaming in the background because I have my kids all here. So it's like, I don't know, we're at a restaurant. It comes in like a little can. It's like 4.5% alcohol. But it was like water. It's not carbonated. And like they're different flavors, but they're all like mom names. So there's like Karen and Susan and Linda. So it's kind of like a funny thing. And I laughed at it.
That is
But
fantastic.
the one's like strawberry kiwi or like a blueberry lemonade, but it's just water. So it's like a water vodka with like some flavoring. And I was like, oh, this is like a great, option I found. So now I have to find it somewhere in Canada or something similar.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably make it too, right?
Yeah, I was just thinking of something like, like if you're going to a barbecue or something to throw in like a cooler or something to bring with you that's not maybe like a beer or something that's quite as heavy. Since I'm unmuted, I'm also going to share the document that you created and helped me when I went traveling about a month or so ago, which I'm going to continue to use for the summer. I highly recommend. I know you shared it somewhere or KB or somebody shared it, but it was awesome. The tips there for helping with the high protein, some snacks, and just a little bit of that planning was so helpful for me. My oldest plays a lot of travel baseball, so we're in hotels a lot. Even if we're at home, but at the tournament for the weekend, that's been like such a great little guideline for me to be like, oh yeah, okay. And especially it helps him too. So, to have those great options like the jerkies and like little mixed nut packets and things like that were like just great to bring with us.
I'm so glad that that helped you. I wish that I could bring this up. So this is what you're referring to, right? This little travel menu guide. Yeah.
Yes.
We created a little travel menu for you to have like breakfast stuff on the go that you could prepare ahead of time, and then some snacks because I know that one thing for you is that it needed to be like kid friendly too. So you weren't just packing like mom snacks versus kid snacks. It was just everybody snacks. Cool. Yeah, we can share this in the group. I'm so glad to get that feedback from you, Melissa. I didn't know how helpful that was going to be. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. All right. Yeah, so we can assign that to everybody now that we know that Melissa enjoyed it. I think I attached a video on that as well. Cool. So, does anybody else have any questions? I know we had a couple new people join in. Crystal, Sandy, you guys kind of came in towards the end of everything, but we basically just explained the rundown on how to navigate holidays, vacations. What questions might you guys have specifically about upcoming holidays or vacations that we can talk through? No, I think everyone is in a place that they can't.
Oh,
unmute.
can
Oh,
you
there
hear
you go. Yeah.
me? No, not for me. I mean, I think everything so far, it's like I'm still adjusting to having the meal plan that you assigned for me. And because I feel like I'm doing better as I go, I don't want to mess up that progress. If I feel like, oh, I can cheat here or I can cheat there, I'm like, no, because then I know I'll revert. So
Yeah, so that was basically the common denominator of this conversation so far is we afford the flexibility for the holidays and the vacations by staying on track to the best of our ability outside of those instances. So for you, we're not necessarily tracking your macros meticulously or anything at the moment, but if we were, then I would say track to the best of your ability, really try to get close to your goal. And then come 4th of July or your birthday or, you know, whatever holiday or vacation, don't worry about tracking. Eat and drink whatever the fuck you want, you know, because that is what this whole balance thing is all about. It's about controlling your efforts and doing your best on the normal days. So then on the days that you want to be present with your family and have some birthday cake and things like that, you can, and it's not going to fuck anything up because you were on point every other day leading up to this moment. All right. So we posted a big announcement yesterday. We